policies. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country. And now our prices are coming down, and they're coming down for cars, and they're coming down. I mean, did you hear yesterday when Chris Wright from Energy?
I mean, that's very true. Biden did increase the money supply by 20%. So prices rose by about, well, 20% across the board in almost every area except for healthcare, actually. So, I mean, at least he didn't make healthcare go that far through the roof, but it still did raise in price, just not as much as it did under Trump. So I guess he did that all right.
Head of energy in our country said there are now parts of our country, it's all happening, $1.99 for gasoline a gallon. And we have it at $2.50, $2.60. It was at $5. And that's bigger than any tax cut we could give. You know, for the average family, that's considered bigger than any tax cut. So the word affordability, when they mention it, you ever watch them? It's all about, I saw the young lady that lost last night.
I mean, yeah, this is what they don't want to talk about, right? This is why the affordability crisis is pretty much the Dems' fault. They complain about the problems that they cause. So the cumulative consumer price index price increase by category, Trump versus Biden. We're talking about Trump's first term versus Biden's second, well, you know, last term during our last president. So as you can see, overall consumer price index went up over 20%. Prices across the board went up by 20%. We lost about $3,000 in buying power because of this 20% increase. And if you know, it also matches up with this 20% increase across the board, the 20% increase in the money supply. You see how that just translate over so smooth? And they said it wasn't transitory, which is hilarious, by the way. But all right, guys, let's get back to our guy Trump.
She lost by a lot more than they thought, and we have a great new candidate in Congress, really great, Matt Van Epps. But I saw last night, she said it's all about affordability, all about. They never talk about like the specifics.
Right.
Everything was through the roof. Eggs, when I took over, eggs were 4 times higher than they ever were. We got the prices down to the lowest level.
Yep.
I mean, amazing. But they never, you got to watch, they're great con people. It's like the Inflation Reduction Act. And after they got it approved, because everybody said inflation reduction, they admitted it had nothing to do with reducing inflation.
Now, the Inflation Reduction Act did some good things, but it did increase inflation through increased spending. It was like $1 trillion bill, like, let's be honest. And yes, it did expand the $35 insulin cap, extended it to everybody and not just seniors like Trump did. So they expanded it to everybody. It did cause more spending, of course, to expand it to everybody. And everything in that bill was, well, I'm gonna be real with you. Like I said, it was just more spending, and it was talking about inflationary reduction. By more spending, by printing more money, do you not know how inflation is caused?
It's a con job. I think affordability is the greatest con job. They look at you and they say, affordability. They don't say anything else. Everyone says, oh, their prices were so low. No, they had the worst inflation. We had the highest prices we ever had. And now they're all coming down, including beef is coming down. Beef was up there a little bit. Our ranchers did well, but we got to make them do a little bit less well, perhaps. But the beef is now coming down. Coffee is now coming down. It's all coming down. And it's a beautiful thing to see. But remember this, when they use the word affordability, they never say anything else. This election's about affordability. And then they go into the next subject. It's a con job. They caused the highest prices, the history of our country, the worst inflation in the history of our country. And we're getting those prices down, and they're coming down rapidly. And you'll see those results very soon. Anybody else want to say a few words?
Yeah, and the thing about inflation is that, well, that price increase don't go nowhere. Actually, the only way to beat inflation is to increase wages. And that's what Trump's been doing by, cutting taxes, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. He's trying to increase wages across the board to get us out of the $3,000 of buying power that we lost under Biden. It's the only way out.
Oh, Ted, I can't believe it.
I'm easy to miss.
I didn't see. It's very rare that I would miss it. Go ahead.
Well, Mr. President, I want to congratulate you on behalf of everyone here for the leadership that you're showing. And this is a victory today for consumers. This is a victory for affordability. Your critics like to say the word affordability. Under Joe Biden and the Democrats, they put mandate after mandate after mandate on cars and trucks, and they drove the price up thousands and thousands of dollars. And with the actions you're taking today, and you put on top of that the one big beautiful bill, you know, most of the senators here on the Senate Commerce Committee and on the Commerce Committee, we worked together to zero out the CAFE standards. We wrote that into the law that the CAFE standards went to zero. What does that mean? It means you can now, as a consumer, buy the car you want. It also means people's lives will be safer, because what these regulations did is they forced cars to be more expensive and made of plastic instead of steel, because you had to make them lighter to comply with these standards. So you'd get in a wreck and people would die. The result of what you're doing, you're literally saving people's lives, and you're making it where families can afford to get a new car. These actions will drop the cost of cars and trucks thousands of dollars. That makes a real difference. And I'll make one final point. You know, about half the members here are car dealers.
Oh, it's no wonder I've never seen a 5-star safety crash test in a minute. Oh, makes sense.
And I will say, my good friend Roger Williams out in the lobby, he tried to sell me a car, which didn't surprise me. But I just want to give props to Mike Kelly. He showed he was savvier because he tried to sell you a car, and you can afford a much nicer car than I can. So well done, Mike. Roger, you just went to the wrong customer.
I was $100 cheaper.
The thing that Ted just said, it's true. Plastic instead of steel. Think of that. And people died because of that. The plastic was plastic in an auto accident, then it broke up.
Oh, guys, do me a favor and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in on the conversation by double tapping that screen. If you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just $2 and up, or if you just want to support, you can just send a GIF, and that'd be cool.
And
Appreciate it.
people were shattered because of that crazy deal. But it's a really good point.
And Mr. President, I'll tell you, the Senate Commerce Committee on January 14th, we're going to have a hearing with all of the big three there and Tesla. And the entire hearing is going to focus on how your leadership has reduced the burdens on car makers. That's lowering costs, that's giving consumers more choices, and it's producing more jobs in America. And it's highlighting that's a real record of success.
Yeah, well, it's an honor. And, you know, they were going by California. We had like 2 different countries, California and 15 that followed California, because you had 15 states follow California. And the rules from California were just like everything else. That's why people are leaving. That's why it's such a mess. There's a state with such unbelievable potential. But what they did with the car industry is incredible. And that was, you know, the car companies didn't know what to do because they had 2 standards, and you can't build 2 different cars for the same country. And what we're doing today is very big. Would anybody like to say something? Would you like to say something, my friend?
I just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Brian, and we love you, Brian.
Oh, I love you too, Mr.
Okay.
President. I've always said
he's a good man.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
appreciate that. I've always said you've tackled the three M's: mortgage, munchkins, and marriage.
So once again, pretty much Trump tackled the CAF standard, which is the corporate average fuel economy, which he decreased it from these guys having to produce a car with an engine, with your basic engine, have to produce a car that was pretty much supposed to do what, 50 miles per gallon. They took that and they lowered it to 34 to 34.5 miles per gallon instead. So it's a huge relief off of these companies, and it'll be able to make these cars a lot safer and not just get, dominated by EVs, or just be forced to make EVs.
Solidified all of those. I'll add motor vehicles to that now. My question, I got one about consumer confidence. We just came off one of the record high Black Friday, up 9.1%.
Record high, highest ever, biggest amount ever purchased in one day. Yeah.
Which I think counters this narrative of affordability, because apparently the Americans are spending money. So I want to see, how do you view that for a consumer confidence being so high going into Christmas and going into next year? And I do have one for the auto group after you.
Yeah, I just think that we have tremendous confidence in the country. You know, one of the things in terms of confidence, if you go back a year and a half, it's amazing. We're like into 10 months already, but you go back a little bit before the election, because after November 5th, it started changing rapidly, even though we weren't running it until January 20th. But when you look back and you look at the enlistment of soldiers, people that wanted to join the military, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, it's like booming. It's all Space Force. But we had a we had the worst recruitment in the history of our country. A year later, we have the greatest recruitment in the history. You can't even get in. Getting in is like getting into a top college that you couldn't get in. People want to be in the service now, and that includes the police, environment, and other things. You couldn't hire police. You couldn't hire anybody in the Army or the Navy. You couldn't get people in. And we now have gone from that to record recruitment. We're getting high quality people, amazing people wanting to be in the military. They have spirit now, call it what you want, but that's part of it. But they have great spirit now.
And speaking of the military, our guy P. Hegseth is under, complete fire, constant fire. One, they're reigniting the Signal Gate. So yes, they're reigniting the whole Signal chat fiasco. And then of course there is the second strike on the Venezuelans. Well, second strike on the boat. The first strike took out the boat. The second strike took out to combat. Well, I'll be real with you, non-lethal combatants, which would be considered a war crime.
It's a great thing. Go ahead, ask your second question.
Okay, my second question, I've got a lot of close family friends.
Is what liberal media and everybody else is saying. Honestly, it's kind of looking like Pete Hegseth is cooked, because I've been also looking around at it, and one, it doesn't look like Pete Hegseth can separate himself from the order. Two, the SEAL Team 6 has been, honestly, what I've been looking at, it looked like they have a bad rep of going rogue and, doing the unthinkable or doing the unimaginable, which means that they are known to known to commit war crimes. So we'll see where that takes us. We'll see. And we're going to get into it later. But let's not forget to double tap that screen and like the video. All right, let's go.
In the automotive business, own dealerships all across Southern California. They sent me a question to ask you. There's a thing called a mileage blocker that is installed on vehicles. It's a type of a computer chip which alters the actual mileage driven on the vehicle, so that when you have a leased vehicle that's turned in, they're losing thousands of dollars. They've got to go chase down these manufacturers. What can we do to track down these manufacturers of this illegal computer chip that's really hurting automotive industry?
Have you heard about this?
Yes, sir. They're getting built in China, and most of them are coming out of Great Britain, sir. They're being distributed through China, through distributors, selling them online through Great Britain. Yes, sir.
Wow, that's not so good. What do you think?
Look at that.
Bernie, do you know anything about that?
It works on older vehicles, and obviously, we got to do a better job.
Yeah, I think it's something, I've never heard of it. Very good. We never heard of it. That's pretty good.
Mr. President, you released video of that first boat strike on September 2nd, but not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what
I
happened?
don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release. No problem.
All right.
Stopped every boat.
Thank God, because we need to see it, because this man Hegseth done confused everybody at the cabinet meeting. This man said, look, I seen the video and I ain't see nobody. I seen the flames on the boat and I ain't see no two bodies. So I don't even know what y'all talking about. He threw all of us with that. So now, yes, we need to see the leaker saw, because this leaker is convinced that a war crime was committed. Convinced. And this is somebody in the military who leaked this to the press. So, I mean, it does come from a reliable source, like it or not.
We saved 25,000 American lives.
That's right.
And if you look at our numbers, the drugs coming.
Hey, Cap, man, not right now, because that fog of war comment, I was like, oh my God, you did not just say that. There's a lot of other things we need to get into, but trust me, we're going to get into that.
And through sea are down 91%. I'm surprised there's 9%. You want to? I don't know who's doing the 9%, but it's down 91, and we're going to start very soon on land, and I'm sure you're thrilled to hear that.
So
On Ukraine, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were there last night with Vladimir Putin. Can you give us an update about those talks? It sounds from what the Kremlin is saying that they're not going to compromise. Can you tell us what you've...
I don't know what the Kremlin's doing. I can tell you that they had a reasonably good meeting with President Putin. We're going to find out. It's a war that should have never been started. It's a war. If I were president, we had a rigged election. If I were president, that war would have never happened. It's a terrible thing. But I thought they had a very good meeting yesterday with President Putin. We'll see what happens. It's, you know, when I was in this office
and I do got some bad news for my Ukrainian lovers that we will, my Ukraine lovers that we will get into, because sadly it's not looking good for Ukraine. And I'm not going to get into too much details, but let's say that Putin is progressing.
I talked about no cards. I said, you have no cards. That was the time to settle. I thought that would have been a much better time to settle. But they, in their wisdom, decided not to do that. They have a lot of things against them right now. But you have President Putin had a very good meeting yesterday with Jared Kushner and with Steve Witkoff. What comes out of that meeting, I can't tell you, because it does take two to tango. You know, Ukraine, I think we have something pretty well worked out with them. They're very satisfied considering. But the sad part is if I were president, no war would have ever happened. They would have had 100%.
Considering that they most likely are going to have to give up land, and about 10 to 20% that Russia took is now pretty much going to be de facto Russia. Actually, more than that might actually end up being de facto Russia.
Of their territory, nothing would have happened. It's a very sad situation. So think of this. Last month, 27,000 soldiers. 27. That's like you take a stadium, a football stadium, not an arena, and you cut it in half. 27,000 people died. Young, mostly young soldiers died last month, in 1 month. And that's the only reason I'm involved. You know, we're not spending any money in the war. We're selling to NATO. We're not being ripped off like we were under Biden. Biden was handing everybody everything we had, giving them all the missiles, everything they wanted, free, no charge, or just, he had no idea what he was doing. They're paying top dollar, full price for everything. Goes to NATO, and then NATO distributes it. NATO pays us. So we're not, it's not money. We would all, I think I can speak for everyone behind here. The politicians I know and the auto manufacturers are good people. They don't want to see 27,000 people die for no reason whatsoever. And that's the only reason I'm trying to help. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, switching to Venezuela for a second. Have you checked back with President Maduro? I mean, is your pressure campaign working? And do you think, how's your response?
You tell me, is it working? It's not pressure campaign. It's much beyond that, I think. But I spoke to him briefly, just told him a couple of things. We'll see what happens with that. Venezuela sends us drugs, but Venezuela sends us people that they shouldn't be sending. They emptied their prisons into our country. They sent us killers, murderers. They sent us drug dealers at the highest level. They sent us gang members. They sent us people from their mental institutions. They emptied their mental institutions into our country. And so did other countries, because we had stupid people running this country, really stupid people. And I think probably you had some stupid ones and you had some smart ones, but there were bad people too. Because not all of them were stupid. You can't cheat on elections like they did and be stupid. Okay?
Did you talk to him a second time or just that one time?
What's that?
To Maduro, did you speak to him again?
No, I didn't.
Mr. President, if you do
When
find.
you spoke with Mr. Witkoff and with Mr. Kushner
Last night.
did they give you the sense that President Putin still wants to end the war, still wants to make peace?
He would like to end the war.
And if you're wondering why the Trump administration is a bit fed up with Maduro, because Maduro did make a deal with the Biden administration to let go his cousin and another family member, and one of his best friends who was caught drug trafficking. And he said, look, I'll hold a fair election. And that's what he promised the Biden administration, that he'll hold a fair election, just give back his homies. And we did. We gave back all of his homies. All the essays was released fairly. And you know what this man did? He held the election and then he stole it. Yep. It was reported that he only received maybe like 20% of the votes, and he just stood 10 toes and he said, no, I'm not going nowhere. Actually, I won the election. Anybody who got anything to say about it can face this, the end of this rifle. And well, here we are with Maduro still in power today.
That's that was their impression. Now, whether or not, that was their impression. Their impression was that he would like to see the war ended. I think he'd like to get back to dealing a more normal life. I think I'd like to be trading with the United States of America, frankly, instead of, losing thousands of soldiers a week. But their impression was very strongly that they'd like to make a deal. We'll see what happens.
Mr. President, in the boat strikes, if it is found that survivors were actually killed while clinging onto that boat, should Secretary Hegseth, Admiral Bradley, or others be punished?
I think you're going to find that this is war, that these people were killing our people by the millions, actually, if you look over a few years. I think last year we lost close to 300,000 people were killed. That's not mentioning all the families. Have you seen what happens with the families of not only the people killed, but people that are trying to get their son or their daughter off of this poison that they've been fed? I think you're going to find that there's a very receptive ear to doing exactly what they're doing, taking out those boats. And very soon we're going to start doing it on land too, because we know every route, we know every house, we know where they manufacture this crap, we know where they put it all together. And I think you're going to see it very soon on land also. Yeah, please.
So to be clear, you support the decision to kill survivors after the
No,
initial
I
strike?
support the decision to knock out the boats, and whoever's piloting those boats, most of them are gone. But whoever are piloting those boats, they're guilty of trying to kill people in our country. Yeah, please.
The House Judiciary Committee has subpoenaed Jack Smith to ask about his investigation of you. I wondered.
Like I said, unless these guys were like high value targets, I mean, that's really the only justification for taking these guys out. If it had been a significant hit to the cartel, and I doubt the cartel would have been sending their leadership out there on a boat in the middle of the ocean. Like, I doubt it. So yeah, there's going to need to be some explanations. I mean, well, some type of, well, please elucidate, please explain to us like why you bombed these two people, or if there were even people in that video, because according to Hegseth, he ain't see nothing. So as Trump said, and thank God he said it, that the video shall be released and we'll be looking for ourselves. Hopefully, the leaker just didn't mistake, 2 heroin bags as brown people.
For deposition, I wondered if you'd prefer to see that as a hearing so that the American public can see the questions and the responses more easily.
I'd rather see it probably at a hearing. Look, Jack Smith is a thug. He's a failed prosecutor. He's a bad man. He's an evil man. He hurt a lot of people. Forget about me. I do this stuff, but I got indicted many times by a guy that they were dismissed. He's a bad guy. He's a sick man. There's something wrong with him, actually. I think Jack Smith is a sick man. There's something really wrong with him. I'd rather see him testify publicly because there's no way he can answer the questions. But Biden knew this was going along. Kamala knew it was going along. And there's a lot of things happening right now that they don't like. One of the things is the auto pen. Everything he signed, almost, with the exception of the pardon of his wonderful son, Hunter, just about everything he signed was not signed by him. He had no knowledge of it. He didn't know what it was. People sitting around the beautiful Resolute desk knew exactly what it was. And those people are guilty, in my opinion, of a major crime. Everything that was signed by that auto pen, the man operating the auto pen, and I'm sure there are more than one because I think some of the people can operate it themselves. Some of the high level people operated themselves. They would just go in and sign his name with an auto pen onto very important documents, not only pardons, but policy, maybe CAFE standards, okay, as an example. Who signed CAFE? If you ask Biden, what's a CAFE standard? He would have absolutely no idea. He'd say, where is the cafe located? The guy didn't know anything. Look, that just shows you what a rigged election can be. But you understand what I'm saying. Thank you.
Everybody was wondering what the cafe standard was because not a lot of people was really catching on to what Biden was doing with that whole EV mandate, because it wasn't really an EV mandate. It was the cafe standard that pretty much made it an EV mandate.
Conversations
with Jensen.
So Biden didn't say, no, we're forcing you all to make trucks. I mean, EV cars. No, he's pretty much saying, look, you're going to be you're either going to make EV cars or find a way to evolutionize the engine to make it like run 50 miles per gallon. I mean, either or.
Right. So in your conversations with him, have you kind of given a sense of where you are with export controls and the types of chips that NVIDIA can give to China?
He knows very well. He's done an amazing job. NVIDIA, very good. Yeah.
Mr. President, when do you expect for phase 2 of the Gaza peace plan to be implemented? And
Well, it's going along well. You know, they had a problem today, I understand, with a bomb that went off, hurt some people pretty badly, probably killed some people. They're telling me it just happened. But it's going under. We have peace in the Middle East. People don't realize it. We have tremendous support. 59 countries. There's tremendous support. But phase 2 is moving along. Yeah, it's going to happen pretty soon.
Mr. President, did you speak with House Republican leadership about your decision to pardon Congressman Henry Cuellar? And are you concerned that you made a vulnerable Democrat perhaps less vulnerable with that decision?
It didn't matter. He's a respected person. He was treated very badly because he said that people should not be allowed to pour into our country. And he was right. He didn't like open borders. He was on the border. You know, he represents a very respected man. He represents the people on the border, and he saw what was happening. And as soon as he made that statement, I then said, I'll bet he gets indicted. And that's what happened. You know, I put out my truth from that. Well, I did a truth. Wonderful truth. We love truth. But what happened is he got indicted for speaking the truth. And his wife got indicted, Imelda. And that's sort of a first. Usually they leave the wives alone, right? Don't they, Congressman? Typically they indict somebody, put him in jail for the rest of his life, but the wife can just sit home and cry, or she'll find a new man. You know? A lot of times they find a new man, makes them much happier. In fact, a lot of times they like that man better than the one that's in jail.
Hey, bro, this man's.
The mayor of
Hey, yo, this man is ruthless towards his enemies. I'll tell you that.
Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is
I
also saying.
wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother.
Now, I actually looked this up and I was able to find no evidence that Ilhan Omar married her brother. Now, she did marry some Somali guy, but it was never confirmed that that was her brother. Or maybe it could have been her cousin, but like I said, the claim was her brother. So, yeah, I wasn't able to find anything on that. And I looked extensively. So I wasn't able to find no facts on that if she ever married her brother. So no, the way she got in here is perfectly legal.
It's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because, you know, it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Waltz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain.
No, I do like how he's highlighting the fraud that was going down and the fact that there was a fraud case involving 86 people and 78 of them were of Somalian descent. And of course, the fact that they do send money overseas and all the way back to Somalia, and sometimes it ends up in the hands of a terrorist group, which is also a problem. And it gets, you know how much money we sent over to Somalia through these guys working, sending it back, probably about like $1.2 to $1.5 billion. That's leaving America, never to return, but to possibly be funding a terrorist attack, possibly. But you know what I don't like though? I don't like throwing all the Somalians under the bus, because not all of them that do this, all 80K of them, no. There's most likely just a small group of them who does this bullshit. But to just throw all of them under the bus, I don't like the language of that. But to sit there and highlight the fact that there is being fraud committed by a group of these people, and they like to act so high and mighty in our country, I mean, thank you. That does need to be highlighted.
Complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with Go back to your own country and figure out your constitution. All she does is complain about this country without.
No, and honestly, I stand with Trump on that one. I'm not saying that I want you forcibly removed, but I'm just saying, if you think that Somalia's a better place, then go back there and somehow solve the three-way war that's going on right there. I don't know. You're going to the terrorists, some pirates, the fake government that's installed that were backing, that were help bombing people. I mean, pick your side, G. But guess what? I mean, if that situation seems better than here, then you got mental problems. But if you're that prideful about it, please. I'm pretty sure that the American people would like to make a one-time donation of our taxpayer money to give you guys a private jet there, and it'll be the last luxurious thing you see until you touch down on your homeland.
This country, she
might just be the last luxurious thing you see when you get to your homeland.
She would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country.
Oh, and shout out to my man Hellbat for starting us off. He says, for them long ass, it's their first cut. He's like, for them, as long as it's their first cousin, right? Yes. Yeah, that is actually traditionally practiced in places like Pakistan and some places in Africa as well. In Islam, not all cultures do it, but there are some cultures that do a lot of cousin marriage, mainly Pakistan. Sadly, sorry to throw you guys under the bus, Pakistanis, but you guys are famous for it. Even the other Muslims look at y'all crazy. So sorry, but y'all did to yourselves.
Country on earth, I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon. I hope. But what Somalia, what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor. A lot of it starts with Barack Hussein Obama, because that's when people started coming in. And you have to have people come in that are going to love our country, cherish our country. They want to kiss our country goodnight.
Oh, and shout out to my man Hellbait. It's like, also, wasn't there some kind of bill about emissions or something like that? There's a reason why vehicles got larger. Oh yeah, the CAF standard has been reduced. So the CAF standard is the corporate average fuel economy. So it's a fleet average. Automakers can still sell gas guzzlers as long as it has a high enough miles per gallon, right? So under Biden, it had to. They were expecting these guys to get these combustible engines to 50 miles per gallon. That's what's supposed to be their aim by 2031, or these guys are just going to have to switch over to EV. And Lord knows a lot of these guys are too stuck in their ways when it comes to gas or the combustible engine. Now Trump comes in and he takes that 50 miles per gallon to 34 to 34.5 miles per gallon. So yes, it gives these guys a lot of leeway, all the way up to 2031. So they don't even got to achieve this yet, but by 2031 they should be able to achieve a nice little car or light truck that's able to do 35 miles per gallon.
We talk about our country. We want them to pray for our country. This is not the people living in Minnesota. And she's a disaster. She should not be, and her friends shouldn't be allowed. Frankly, they shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople. Okay, they shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople, because they don't represent the interests of our country. Anybody else?
Mr. President, you on Somalia.
And shout out to my man Jet. He says, make Western Union illegal outside the country. No, better yet, highly tax it. Put the craziest tax on it. No, 50% tax. You try to send $1, we taking 50 cents. Like, play with us. Let's see if they keep on doing it. I mean, let's make all of our money back then. I actually shoot 70% tax. You try to send $1, we take in 70 cents out of it. Bet they'll stop that BS, because then it'll just really be putting money in our pocket at that point. I mean, you might as well. But making it, banning, these guys from sending money out for about, let's put a limit on it, like 5 to 10 years. I mean, by that time, they probably won't even have a need to do it at that point. I mean, whatever they got going on over there would probably be, then we got to get too dark.
The automakers spent billions.
My joke was about to go somewhere
on
necessary.
Biden EV rules. Should they be able to recoup that somehow, given the change? And there's a question about the Biden.
No. I'm not letting them recoup. They're going to do just fine. You know how they recoup? From this point forward, they'll do very well.
Can you also talk about the USMCA and what you're thinking about renegotiating that with the automakers?
Well, that's just an ongoing thing. It expires in about a year, and we'll either let it expire or we'll maybe work out another deal with Mexico and Canada. But look, Mexico and Canada have taken advantage of the United States, like just about every other country. In all fairness, it's not them. I'm not blaming them. But every country, because we had stupid people running our country. We had a lot of stupid people running. That's why we have $38 trillion in debt. But the beautiful thing about the tariffs is we'll start paying off that debt. The money coming in, they're finding money in our country now that they never knew existed. The other day, $30 billion. Where did it come from? I said, why don't you check the tariff shelf? They said, sir, that tariff hasn't started yet. It doesn't start till January. I said, no, it started 2 months ago. They called back, sir, you're right. It was from tariffs. No, we have a whole different country. I hope the Supreme Court, I pray that the Supreme Court understands the importance of the sensible, really, I mean, this would be country threatening if something happened with regard to that. The people that brought that case are bad people. They're very bad people. They hate our country. They represent foreign countries, including China, but they represent, and China's paying us a lot of money now in tariffs, but they represent people that really don't like our country much. And I know some of them, and they're scum. In my opinion, they're scum. They're absolute scum. And they're not suing for any good reason. They're just suing to see if they can stop it because they make money if this country does badly. So, but we're taking in trillions of dollars.
What was the company's name? Well, I forgot the company's name, but it was a company that was coming out pretty much saying, look, hey man, if the Supreme Court ruled against Trump, we want our money back. Whatever we paid in tariffs, we want it back. AKA, it's funny how the companies are literally admitting that, well, they're the ones who pay the tariffs. So, I mean, hey, if they was passing it down to y'all, then they should be sending a rebate check to the American consumer, right? Right, but no, it's these multi-millionaires and billionaires that are the ones talking about they want their refund for paying the tariffs, not you guys.
We're stopping wars. We have great national security because of tariffs. And then to think that we have to even go and justify this.
That's
the reason
hilarious.
A lot of these people, I can tell you this, maybe we would have had the political people. We wouldn't have these people without tariffs. The people that are up here from Stellantis and Ford and General Motors, great companies, including this gentleman, they wouldn't be here today if we didn't have tariffs. They'd be building their plants in Mexico and other places. They're leaving Mexico and they're leaving Canada. They're leaving because they ripped off our country. They took our businesses away from us. And now because of tariffs, they're all coming back. So it's a great thing. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and start over on the right side of media, and then we're gonna make our way over to the left. And warning, this is actually an AI video. I'm not sure why they did this. I'm not sure why Fox News showed this, but this actually was reported to be an AI video.
Our president is racist, xenophobic, Islamophobic, and we are gonna fight that.
It's not racist to fight crime and fraud. It's righteous. Omar thinks Trump has a crush on her.
I would say the president's obsession with me and the Somali community is really unhealthy. It's creepy. And I hope that he gets the help that he needs.
I would say this. I mean, he's highlighting a real problem in that community and what's going on in that area. But to throw the whole entire Somali community under the bus is just not, one, it's not a good look, and it's not right either.
Sorry, Elon. Trump wants a
like if he'd have just kept it to the scamming going on there and these certain group of Somalians there and all that good stuff. And if he was to say, oh, well, I'm not talking about the good Somalians, I love our, I'm talking about the bad ones that disrespect us, then I'm be real with you. They're not, nobody be over here trying to paint Trump as an Islamophobe or, you know, basically a person who hates Muslims. And I mean, it is what it is. Like we all know what the situation he's trying to touch on, but the way he's going about it is not the best, in my personal opinion. Because some of you guys are like, nah, let's not set. We got to get all the Muslim out of here. I disagree, but hey, man, we could agree to disagree on that one.
Long distance relationship.
You have her She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with,
I ain't gonna say y'all Islamophobic. I'm gonna say y'all Islam intolerant because y'all don't really fear Islam. Well, maybe some of y'all do, but y'all definitely intolerant of Islam.
go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution.
The Congresswoman's got a lot to say about the president, but what about her own governor?
State employees in Minnesota are saying they're worried about his handling of fraud and that he's to blame for the amount of fraud during COVID, about $1 billion.
And you really believe that?
Well, that's the latest figures that have been released.
I mean, nah, sweetheart, no, that's just been released. Yes, there was a what, $250 million scandal, and there was about 78 Somalis involved out of 87 people. Now, the people who was really running it at the highest level were our own. Yeah, those were Americans, but we kind of basically used that. They used that community to pretty much help out. And here's the problem. I mean, we can't sit here and blame the Somali community like completely here. Let's remember who propped them up like this. Let's remember who's giving them all these benefits, who's giving them all these loopholes, because they wouldn't be taking advantage of this without the help of the, Minnesota government. They wouldn't be able to do this without their help. Let's not forget this. Let's not sit there and just skirt all accountability onto them. Let's not forget that it's our own senators, Congress, women and men out there, and I mean, even the governor, like retard Walls, that's out there giving them these loopholes. So let's remember that part, because it is unfair to throw them all under the bus when it's our own low-key promoting them to do this, low-key proliferating it. And let's just remember, keep that in mind. But shout out to my man Hellbat. Appreciate the support, my dog. He says, whoops, wrong one. Well, first off, actually, it's Jet. Shout out Jet. Her bashing white folks as a devil is what's creepy. Nah, facts. I mean, nah, that's true. Nah, bro, there was another guy who I played the video yesterday. He was just going all out on white guy people. And I was just like, see, this is what's going to cause that little race war that some of these guys want. When people just start disrespecting each other's culture, religion, and all that wild stuff. And I'm just like, come on, let's not do that. But it is what it is. And shout out to my man Hellbat. He says, conspiracy theory. They're so ugly, they have to be covered so their man can use their imagination. The less they cover, the less they are the prettier. Oh, damn. Okay, hold on, bro. Conspiracy theory. They're so ugly, they have to be covered up so their man can use their imagination. The less covered they are, the prettier they are. And you are effed up. I ain't gonna lie. A lot of them look good under that. I mean, not just the Somalians. I'm talking about like the Arabic women across the board. Like a lot of them look good under that.
You believe state employees are actually?
Don't ask me why I know that.
Some DHS employees, yes, in Minnesota.
I won't believe everything I read online.
Tampon's under federal investigation, so he's bulking up for his prison stint.
I got the pork sausage on
Cheese.
pork sausage, egg and cheese
On focaccia.
on focaccia.
Well,
10 out of 10.
Waltz is chomping on sausage while Somalis are taking a bite out of us. Minnesota wasn't always like this. They have deep Scandinavian roots. They say that.
I'm sorry, Double Walls chomping on sausage. Sorry, I had to be childish there for a second.
That's why they're so happy and generous.
Somalians took advantage of our generosity. Not all of them. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it's kind of egregious the way you're doing this community. All of them, all 80K. Come on now, dog. Like, that's not being reasonable. But yes, there is a small group of them that took advantage of our generosity. I mean, we could say that about the Hispanics. We could say that about the Haitians. I mean, we can go across the board. Let's just not nitpick now.
But then we imported thousands from the second most corrupt country in the world, Somalia. And they took advantage. People used to know their neighbors, and now you can't even talk.